Hello everybody. I wanted to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody who's watched my videos over the last couple of years under the pseudonym of WAKEY WORKER. I did about 50 videos, you know, about fraud and the Wakefield Council corruption, and the last one I've just done, a bit of a funny one about corrupt Santa, so I hope you all enjoy that. But I want to give a bit of an overview, do you know, with council, because although I did all those videos, some people have jumped in at like video 20 and they go from about 1 to 50 and they've said to me, who's this, who's that? So I said I'll try to make it a bit more clearer and just so everybody knows, because public of Wakefield, you should know, you know, it's your money, and people who are supposed to serve you, when they're corrupt like that, it's wrong. So a quick overview. I was a subcontractor to Wakefield Council, you know, in construction side of things for about 14 years, from about 2005. Predominantly, I did everything to do with flooding. I put lots of input into everything with council, lots of advice, because they're thick twats, to be honest, I can assure you of that. I did nearly everything for them. All 5 towns, I did everything to do with flooding. There were other things. I mean, I did a lot of work at like Sculpture Park, diverting rivers, and some quite big jobs. So I was quite informed when it came to flooding or anything to do with flooding around the entire Wakefield area. I knew about it. So just so people recognise, when I say names in videos, I talk about Vulturehead, that's Danny Chappell, an engineer. I talk about a person called 3-Pair Paul, and when I refer to 3-Pair Paul, that's a senior engineer, Paul Madison, who basically got 3 pair of expensive boots in 1 week on my account. But here's how it more or less started. I work under some engineers in a division called Land Drainage. They're under the Highways division. There's 5 or 6 engineers, junior to senior. Paul Madison is most senior, then a Nick Fothergill senior, then there's an Andrew Iam senior, and then you've got Rebecca Fothergill, there's Danny Chappell, there's a few left, but predominantly most of them are still there. With council staff, you learn a lot of things later, but at time, you know, they get the bits of coats, t-shirts from council, and that's about how it should be. But when I first started, they approached me and asked me if they could use one of my accounts. As a contractor, I have accounts everywhere to get materials, among other things. And I had one at a place called Arco, and they did workwear, some of it expensive workwear. So I was approached by Paul Madison. And as I said, there were Paul Madison going down this. And just to clarify, they had a superior boss called Graham West, who I've referred to in some videos. Graham West, and even 14 years I never even saw him. He was the boss of Highways. I come to know him basically for what he did on me, what lies he told, you know. There's also another character in this, David Werrett. He was from fraud, and a kid called Rob Blair and a man called Frost. Then it went right up to the top. There were a Gillian Marshall, Wakefield Council's legal. There were Glyn Humphreys, another twat, who basically a no-good liar. And so, just so you know some of the names. So, I work in Land Drainage under Paul Madison, Nick Fothergill, Rebecca Fothergill, Andrew Iam, Danny Chappell, and among a few others who might have left, Matt Sherwood, Gemma Hunter. And they approached me basically and said, in a nutshell, can we use your account at Arco to get workwear? Straight away I said, well, I can't buy it for you. No, that's fine. And you bear in mind, when I put an invoice in for anything, Paul Madison, the most senior engineer, it's him who gets it, signs it, more or less, signs it off, pays it. So Paul Madison approaches me, can we use your account? We'll pay you. So the gist of it was, they used to go, use my account, and so just imagine this. For 10 years or more, 5 or 6 engineers have blasted my account at Arco on a daily basis sometimes. You imagine how many thousands they've spent. There were sometimes I'd buy 2 or 3 coats in a week, which they weren't supposed to do. But I got paid through my invoices. They used to ask me to write it down as different things. To me, it didn't, I was getting paid, so I didn't see no wrong in it. Senior engineers had asked me. Anyway, they totted up absolute thousands of your money, taxpayer money, plain and simple, everything about money council has is your money. So I got a bit pissed off with them at one point and I stopped them doing it. Not because I thought they were doing wrong, I just stopped them. I just pissed off. I thought they're just greedy twats. You know, they didn't even used to tell me if they'd been and got out, so I stopped them. Soon as I stopped them, they set in motion a plan to get rid of me. That plan worked, they got rid of me, in a nutshell. There's a lot in between, but they got rid of me. So a lot of other things unfold then, and things start revealing themselves. Through years, they'd ask me for money. Paul Madison had asked me for money. Not to buy cameras, he said they were for work. But they weren't for work, he was just pocketing money. That was another thing. And then they were doing jobs for each other. They were some absolute thousands of pounds was spent. Basically, one engineer had said to another, can you do that for me? And get me to get my company to do it. I'd just put an invoice in and get paid. But basically, they were doing favours for each other. Not for public, for each other. Like the one at Pontefract Golf Course. You know, because the senior person at Wakefield Council Golf there, he got Paul Madison to get me to do some work there for about £5 grand. But some of them were a lot more. And it was that kind of thing. Then, there was a time I got asked to give a man a job. A kid called Mike Bartram, he's mentioned in videos. Paul Madison asked me, he said, can you give Mike Bartram a job? He's worked for us before. I said, well, why don't you set him on? Well, can you set him on? So he come, asked me for his credentials, his CV, he had nothing. Nothing at all. And honestly, and according to form, which is true, they'd let him run this big job at Agrig about flooding. So he come to me, and he asked me for 25 quid an hour. I said, no, I give him £12 an hour. When things unravel, and I get to the bottom of things, what had happened was, he'd been taking Paul Madison, a senior engineer, for games of golf and Chinese meals. Paul Madison then just give him a job for £25 an hour, and then when job finished at Agrig, he sent him to me. I give him £12 an hour. I mean, I'm getting about paperwork, so that was one of the other things. Then I've told them all about different things with flooding. Then they were nicking, you know, like Iron were taking things on. Paul Madison was terrible. You know, it cash for cameras. He went berserk at Arco. All in all, everything they were doing, they were lying to me how they were doing it. They were invoices, and they spent absolute thousands of taxpayers' money fraudulently. I exposed everything, every mortal thing. There were witnesses, and I can tell you here now, to your face, everything I tell you on this video is credible. I exposed them for every single thing. There were witnesses, there were all sorts. And as you'll see, the end result of the year-long investigation basically said they broke a few minor rules. It was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And for any of you out there who's interested and digs deeper into these things, when you look at Wakefield Council's rules, regulations, you know, what happens if people do wrong, you'd be amazed. They should have got sacked. No one got sacked. It was cover up after cover up after cover up. Graham West, an absolute eye person, there were a complaint on his desk, and it actually involved a woman who had overheard an engineer on the phone said the most vulgar things. There were witnesses to it, and because Graham West was boss of land drainage as well, over Paul Madison, etc. And it was this Nick Follague who done this terrible call and were overheard. He swept it under carpet. David Werritt, fraud at Wakefield Council, under the carpet. And it went all the way to the top, and all lot of them, they put everything under carpet. They were spending thousands of taxpayers' money, jobs for each other. You know, it was unbelievable. It wasn't like, they went and bought one pair of boots. They were buying pairs of boots, £100 pair of boots, £100 Berghaus coats, trousers, constantly for years, all your money. But as I say, it went on and on. It ended up where I exposed everything. I gave them evidence, paperwork, there was so much involved. And as you'll see on one of my videos where I hold it up, basically all the come to conclusion was there may have been a few minor rules broken. That is what actually happened. And it was unreal. There was so much what they'd done wrong, you know, over years. And what worst about it, the people were complicit in that is unbelievable, because as much as these people who've done all these wrongs, there were some of the colleagues know about it. It went all the way to the top. They knew about it. And do you know what it hurt even more? Every councillor, local councillor in our area, every single councillor, an MP, there might be the exception of the odd councillor who was not a councillor at the time, but in 2019 to 21, every councillor got a copy. I sent them all a copy. Do you know how many questioned it? None. MPs, none. All MPs do, like Yvette Cooper, oh, you're not in my area. And as I pointed out to her, I says, I might not be in your area, but I worked in the district. You should be as interested in taxpayers' money being fraudulently used as anybody. But there wasn't. They didn't give a damn. John Trickett helped me to the point, but they still didn't question into council. They did not get into council. So you have to ask yourself this. All these councillors, they come round all the time, don't they, for votes and that. How much do they help you really? How much do they really bother? If no one even got sacked for spending hundreds of thousands fraudulently, stealing, doing favours for each other, getting taken out for games of golf and Chinese meals, and no one got in trouble. They got a major minor slap on hand. And as it said in summing up of a year investigation, there may have been a few minor rules broken. You tell me, you look in their regulations and tell me if they shouldn't have been sacked or not. But the most damning thing, and incredibly, just as all this kicked off, just before it kicked off, in Wakefield Express, the hierarchy of Wakefield Council, led at time by Peter Box, they put in the Wakefield Express, you can go in the Express still now and get it, anybody, it said, services in Wakefield may be cut and every pound is under scrutiny. Now, when Wakefield Council tell you every fucking pound is under scrutiny, right, sorry for swearing, and they let engineers and staff corruptly abuse public purse and they just let it go. Now you tell me, what's all that about? So there's that many complicit people, there's so much gone badly wrong. But I just wanted to cover some names so you know when I'm talking about people who they are. But as I said, the main players, Paul Madison, Nick Fovigue, Rebecca Fovigue, Andrew Iron, Graham West, David Werritt, these people, what they pushed under the carpet is beyond belief. Any of you out there would never get away with that at work, ever. It would not happen, ever. But as I said, I know there's some of you out there don't take an interest, a great interest, and you pull the regulations for Wakefield out, disciplinary, etc. These people, the trust and integrity, they are supposed to be impeccable people when it comes to serving public, and they aren't. They don't give a toss. They're honest to God, they don't give a toss. They have done so much wrong. And even though I mentioned all this, they just said there were assertions, there were witnesses that wouldn't see them, there were statements, there were corroborating evidence. It didn't matter. It was just brushed under and diminished till as I said, they ended up with that little piece of paper for a year long, and it just said there may have been some minor rules broken. If you break one rule and it's to do with public purse for council, should you not lose your employment? Or am I kidding myself? Because it's unbelievable. But no one did. Those people still walk the halls and Wakefield won. So, but I mean, you make your own mind up about it. I mean, I've no to lie about it whatsoever. But yeah, there's a lot of complicit people. I mean, there's a lot of staff in there, they giggle and laugh about it when they know about it, and instead of coming forward saying, no, it's wrong. It's damn wrong is this. But they didn't. They don't do them kind of things. They cling together, management clung together, and that were it. It were a revolving door, put it under carpet, put it under carpet. So, but at the end of the day, no matter what, I mean, I'm out of the way now, but all you people in Wakefield, I suppose when you don't feel it in your pocket directly, sometimes it don't matter, but they've robbed all of you. They spent fucking hundreds of thousands of pounds on that, and nothing been done about it. Your money, taxpayers' money. You know, they've done so much bad. And even with flood, there's lots of things with flooding where I put in videos. And I dare say some of you will flood at times and that, and it probably could have been avoided, but they lie to you. River Calder's up and that, you can't do out about it. I tell you what, watch some of the videos, just watch them, and you'll see it will come to you that you will flood again. Stanley will flood bad again. Emsworth will flood. And if Ambrig, that system don't work, which it will at some point because it's vulnerable, there'll be hell on there. But no, who cares? All MPs, I've told all MPs about it, about the flood issues. They're not bothered. But you ask yourself this, as a taxpayer of Wakefield, and they're probably going to hit you for more poll tax, how have they got away with it? How? How do people do such things? How do people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, a public purse, and abuse it? They're getting cash in envelopes and saying they were buying cameras. You know, I was doing work which I thought were, credible work, and that, and when it all boils down, it was one engineer saying to another, can you do that job for me? You know, it was more on a personal basis for an engineer, not for public at all. Not for public at all. But I just wanted to give a bit of an overview on that. But yeah, look at Wakefield Express and pull it out, what Peter Box said about that. Services may be cut, every pound under scrutiny. How the hell does a council management say that, then let that go? Not a pound, £1,000. If a council person fraudulently does a 50p, the trust has gone. They should go. These people did bastard thousands of your money. Anyway, you make your own mind up, don't you? Everybody makes their own mind up what happens. So, Merry Christmas.